The broadcast is now
Oh,
starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
hi, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 15th of July, 2019. Myself and John are your hosts. As always, if you've got any queries or questions or ideas, problems, feel free to raise your hand and we'll see what we can do, see what we can accomplish. I shall start with updates. So let's just have a quick look here. Sorry, a lot of background noise today. The office has got very busy today. Right. So, what have we got? Updates. We quickly covered some new methods last week, if anyone remembers, to do with the report control. Now, I want to get an update out. I did promise actually to get a beta out to yourselves. I know John is after the update, and Bill, who's here as well. In fact, I'm going to open Bill's mic because it's one of the things Bill's waiting for. So, Bill, I'll just put you on the spot if you're available.
I'm here.
Yep. So this should really be music to your ears here. Basically, yes, we've got the new methods which we covered last week regarding changing fonts and so on and so forth. But I've decided to give it a bit more effort and energy and finish off this table loading. So rather than you having to maybe embed some code of your own and so on and so forth, I want to pass it you so it's actually that's fully finished and it's all but, so I can really show it you here. So on this particular example here, we've got a report control, and if we go to its data source, so you'll want to do this. So again, you want to probably watch this this webinar back, but you'll go to the data source. It's a positioned one. It's not a file enhanced or anything like that. It's just a report control put onto the screen. We go to the data source, and you now have a file/view. So we data binding, which had previously manually loaded and queue. You've now got the file view. You choose your primary file. So the driving force here is customers and its unique field, which we're going to use. Now, I've purposely chose company name there. It's not going to be. It's going to be the company ID. I've chose that while I'm making sure the template's generating the correct code. But yeah, basically, you would choose your primary file. You would choose your row ID. You know, it's something unique about that row. And I just need one extra subtable here for your joins. So you can say, hypothetically, you know, where you're looking at a transaction table and you want to join in the customer or you want to join in the state, things like that. So, so there's going to be a list there for the joins. Believe it or not, that's really simple to add. So that's no problem. We've got, if you want to link it to a related record, so we can do that. We've covered those in previous weeks. I can cover them again if if there's any questions for it here. That's no problem. And the same with the update procedure. We've covered those, but again we can cover them. We can do them again. And what that will now do, if we look at our generated code, just doing the magic here now, it creates, and we've covered this in previous weeks, it creates a group structure which it's going to use to load the data into the report control as efficiently as it can. So it's going to insert it via a group. So it's created the record ID, a local field of col1, which I happen to, so we have jumped a little bit there. In the columns, I've inserted a local column here. So it's not related to any table or anything, it's just col1. Then we have got some from our primary table, one of our tables. I can't get to it, but it's in one of the tables specified. And we've got a local variable. So the group structure is going to need all of that plus an extra column, which is its internal record ID. So it now has that. We can see that that group structure is declared for us brilliantly. That's just what we want. ID, the column, all the way down to the local field. LV date. As well as that now, and this is where it's changed since last week, it will create you your data view. Now your joins will obviously go onto this as well, and it will also prompt you for a filter and an order. I personally wouldn't really bother about the order too much, because you can read them in the most efficient order you like, because the sorting is going to be done via the report control. So don't worry about having to read the data in a particular order via the view, because the report control, when all the data is present in it, is going to do its sorting. It might be saved, save and restore sorting, and so on and so forth, and grouping. So I wouldn't worry too much about the order, but I will prompt for it anyway, just as because people will expect it. The filter, yes, you probably would want to put a filter on there. So we've got our view. It will then, now you can see there's an embed point called the report control data load, and we'll look at these in the embed tree in a second, but it will automatically delete all the rows upon entry into this embed point. This is how we used to do stuff. So we can see here that we was doing that. None of that will be required, and instead you will get the generated code. So you won't have to embed any code. It will open the view, do a set, read the view. Don't know why I've got an extra blank line there. I'll tidy that up in a second. It calls a new method called set group contents, and as long as that comes back as true, so there's no problems in setting the group contents. And you've also got a data validate record, which by default will be record OK. I have prefixed them with NYS because you might not have the AB files equate or anything like that. So follow the same Clarion equates, just put an NYS in front of them so we don't clash. But yes, basically it will set the group, validate the record. Actually, that should be the other way around, thinking about it. Yeah, I'll change that now. Yeah, we'll just change this here now on the other screen. So basically, as long as the validate record comes back as true, record OK, and the set group contents has worked, then it will add the row. And you can see that's where it's using its unique value, hence why I wanted to check it was using the right field. And then it will close the view and it will populate. So it's going to give you, via the set group contents, it will automatically do what it can for any field it knows of. The only ones you'll have to do is the equivalent of a local field, LV date, because it doesn't know where to get that value from. That's completely up to yourself, or the col one. So any local columns that you have, you will have to set the value for yourself, obviously, just like you would do in set Q record. But any table ones, it will be populated for you automatically. So that's really it. It should really give you what you're after, especially from a legacy point of view. You'll be able to get the equivalent of file load and put straight into the report control. Any questions on that?
It looks great, Andy.
Yeah, it really is within touching distance. Plus, of course, the thing which I didn't actually do, I said I'd do after the webinar last week, is we are going to add nothing to do with what we've just seen, but we're going to have the template settings for your default fonts, because we put the methods in last week, but it would be nice to actually to have some default values on the actual template as well. So we're going to put them in. So realistically, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't really expect a beta direct to yourself tomorrow morning, not this evening, not that time we finish this, but tomorrow your time, tomorrow morning your time. Then you should really expect it in your inbox. And as for everybody else, you'll see an actual new report control 408 coming out probably the next couple of days. So knock it around, see what you think, but you should be fine. So yeah, so that's very good. So it's a nice update coming your way for the report control, and it's been a while. It's overdue, so at least it gets it out of the way, and so on. That's good. Okay. And then, of course, I will actually. That's the only major update for this week. Of course, I know we had the requirement of the GSEC. The position of that, the state of that at the moment is all internal type screens are done. So where it lets you maintain your security settings and this, that, and the other, they're done. I can think of one little enhancement, but it's not really needed for version, for the initial relaunch. The only bits we need to do at the moment, actually no, there's one more screen to do, which is where you can press the hotkey on a particular window and then start controlling the aspects of that window. So you can say this user or this group of users can do these things or can't do these things, and depending on your security settings. But that's going to be a whole new launch. But that's kind of the position it's in. It's at the bit where we need to pop up a window reading what's currently on that window, so you can fine tune it down to that degree, and also then apply those settings onto that active window. So that's the state of play. All the internal screens and the structures and so on are there and working. I've got it in a couple of small solutions, but the implementation of the security I'm just doing myself rather than via the template. So I will keep you posted on that when it's ready. Okie dokie. Right, questions. Let's have a look. I can't get the box. I can see we've got Steve and we've got a raised hand off Heinz. Now I know Heinz has been waiting, so let's. And Steve, I know you have, so I will come to. I know Heinz has been trying to get in touch for a while. So Heinz, if you're there, you got a microphone open. No. Hello, Heinz. Okay, well I'll tell you what. We'll go to Steve. Heinz, if you are there and you've got a microphone and you're able to. He's got no microphone. Okie dokie. Is there a particular topic that you would like us to cover, like a report control or a calendar or command bar, that type of particular query? Is there a query in mind? Okay. While we're waiting for Heinz to see if he's got a particular question and so on, then I know Steve's here as well, and Steve's asking a question regarding it's an old question regarding date picker. Okay. So Heinz has got some questions. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll cover Steve's question, and then Heinz has got some on email. I will switch to that, and we'll have a look, and we'll see if we can cover any of the particular. Hopefully, help Heinz out with some queries he has. So let's quickly go to Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Andy.
How are you doing?
Very well. You all right?
Yes, not bad.
Good.
Down your neck of the woods soon. You're in Kent, aren't you?
Yeah, Bromley. Yeah.
Let me have a quick look. Won't be a second, everybody. Just I was meaning to drop you an email. So let me just have a quick look. Won't be a second, everybody. Yeah, I do Compassion about an hour away.
Okay, maybe we can meet.
Yeah, I'll see what the times are and the plans are and so on. But yeah, it's a week Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, okay. Leave that with me. Right, totally digress. Sorry about that. So we've got a question, and it was you. It's the date picker, correct?
Yeah, what it is that a lot of my apps that I'm using, I use a start date and there's an end date on a form. I always put in the start date of today normally, but allow them to change it if they want. But the end date normally doesn't come into use until they want to stop something or like cancel something. So that date needs to be blank. But on the screen, it always shows something like 1899 or 1839. It looks really weird.
This is the date time picker, isn't it, from the controls?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just grab an example here. So 1 second. I did look into it because I know you sent the message in about it, and it's a question that has raised its head in the past. I think it's been answered, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. If you want the truth,
Yeah.
so let's just take a look. Bum, bum, bum. Webinars, suite controls. Let's see if we can do anything here. Date time picker, that's the data enhancer. You're just using a window control?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it might be a date enhancer, Andy, come to think of it.
Okay.
On one of them, it's definitely a date enhancer, yeah.
Well, I'm going to actually see if we can crack open the control itself as well, because something tells me we're going to need to see if we can find what the raw thing is. So won't do any harm to have that open as well. So what we're talking about is window control, date time picker, and it's the date, yeah. So this, correct?
Yeah.
But if it's here we can disable. So if it's 0, what about these? Any of these? They've all got initial dates in them.
Yeah, if it's not initialized, it'll come back with a weird.
I'm just going to do that on the date time picker. Sorry, not that one. On that one. Doesn't matter about the style. I'll go with, it really doesn't matter. I'll go first one, date one. And we'll just make sure that hasn't got a date to start with. Oh, where's it get its date from? Okay, so
that's it. 99, yeah.
and it'll be 1899, as you say, yeah. Oh,
my one.
Yeah, 1899. Yeah. Okay. So ideally, we want that to be blank, I presume. So we're going to have to go date time picker, and we really need to see if we can blank the picture. I think we did it something like this last time.
I think you used a checkbox or something. You know when you have to use the checkbox.
Yeah, it's not on that one. We'll do it this one.
Yeah, so if you take that checkbox off, it still says 1899.
99. I was just going to say, yeah. I think we're going to have to. Did I close that before? I don't think I did. Okay, so daytime picker. This has been asked in the past, and we have done it. That's where it's got the checkbox, as you say. Tooltip, custom format. Daytime picker control. Returns offset to value that specifies the format used by the control when displaying. Sorry, it won't be a second just reading. Okay, so could we, bit crude this, but let's just take a look. Could we do something along the lines of which style we're wanting to do? Not that one, sorry, that one. We'll do that one. Okay. So I'm just going to try a button to start with and see if the code will work under that, if you will. Need to know what class that is, because there's a few of them on there. Interface, drop down. So according to this, it's still going to be awkward though, but according to this, it's going to be along the lines of so the format will want to be set to be custom, and then the custom format will want to be set to something along the lines of, and it says it can be, their example is, I'm just going to try this, just to check their example is working first. Yep.
Yep.
So they have theirs set to something like this. It's going to be fun, isn't it? Oh. Today is, and it is Monday. Yeah, it's just not big enough. Okay, so that's set the format. Today is only July. So is it going to let me set mine to custom format? Literally nothing. No, just puts it. Okay. Okay, so something like so.
Excellent.
But then, okay, so I can blank the format, but then I need to put it back if it's not a blank. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The only thing we've got, I'm going to have to think through the strategy, because what happens, that's fine if a person is dropping it down to choose the 18th or the 2nd, that type of thing. But of course, what happens if they actually just want to type in the 19th? Now, if I've blanked the format, they won't be able to type in anything.
Yeah. I'm amazed CodeJock haven't covered this.
Let's just bring it in and see if there's anything in here about the blank value. Down the value. Anything in there regarding blank? No. Yeah. See, it's quite a while since this has raised its head. It's got to be at least 2 or 3 years since I answered this. And like I said, I can't quite remember what we said it was going to be. They've got date time formats, yeah, long date, short date. So it's a matter of these. So we can do a blank, but you would be forced to use the mouse to then go and choose the date. So I do need to think of the strategy, but that's fine. I can change it to do that. It'll be something along the lines of let's just go on to that particular control. Off the top of my head, it'd be on the appearance, basically blank date strategy, and what you want it to do. And if you go to the blank, then you will be forced. I can trap what the value is, because as we saw a second ago in here, it does tell me when things happen. So I should be able to check if it's been changed there. If it's changed, so I can detect it and keep a copy of the format, if you will. Keep a copy of the format, and if you've got no date, then I just change the format to blank. Brilliant. And if you have got a date, I can change it to whatever the template desired format is, or the last format it was prior to going blank, so restore it. So I can keep track of stuff like that, and we have done that in other places, but it does force it to be mouse only, if you will, for that.
Yeah.
But yep, I'll put the switch onto here for the strategy. If in the meantime you needed to do that yourself, let's just give you the button. So we'll just do clear and set. How's that sound? So set. Now I remember rightly, that said by default it was long date. So all we should really need to do is change that to XTP pick long date. We shouldn't really need to do any of that. I'll quickly cover that in a second, so I went quite fast there, just to make sure you've got it. But yes. So to clear it and to reset it. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so should you need it?
Could that set be triggered, like hide the button, and when you select the actual date picker, it does an event?
What I'll technically do is don't know if that's the right one, but under here, I'll give you an option to say what the strategy is for blank dates. And if you want it to, display value or blank the entry, maybe put a little tip on there regarding its blank entry. Then basically you will have to select a new date by the mouse, by the drop down, that kind of thing. And you will definitely want some kind of interface on it, be it is a spin works on the other. But anyway, what will happen when you're running it? If it's set to blank, then if it's blank by default, when I know that it's got no value in there, so I can see the clarion value, and if that is 0, I will set that picture to be blank. And then as you change the date, so you can see the clarion one, the clarion one changing, I know that you've changed it. It gives me a callback event. So on that callback event internally, I will trap, have you selected a date, or if you haven't? If you have, I'll restore whatever the desired default picture was, or the last picture was. And if you haven't selected a date, so it's 0, I will blank it again. So you won't have to do anything. It will just do it. The the class will do it all for you, but it is a change to how it currently works. So I'll have to put it on a switch, because otherwise, you fix it for one person and you're going to affect everybody else who got used to it working in a particular fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably a wrong fashion, I agree, but still, it's a change from the default. So I have to just put it on a switch. That's all.
Great.
Yeah, no
That
problem.
works.
So, but in the meantime, if you needed that code, the 2 lines of code, well, 3 lines of code,
I'll
really.
take a screenshot. If you put it in there, I'll get a screenshot of it.
Yeah, let me put it in. So in this set, it would be changing the format back to whatever the equate is you're after, which is long date, short date, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And to clear it, you would set the format to custom, and then actually set the custom format to just double quote space double quote.
Great. It's good, Andy. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. That's that one. So now we have got some from Heinz now, so that's good. Email. Want to listen? That's good. Let me just see if we can see the email, because I know he's asked a couple of times. So definitely, let's see what we can do. Trying to find the email. Won't be a second, everybody. Here's one. Oh, that's one more question, but so I'll find the earlier email. Command bar, is it possible to have a button with a control set to icon and caption below and use space within the caption? Let me get this right. Is it possible to have a button with a control set to icon and caption below? Yep, so like we've got here, brilliant. And use space within the caption. The space should not result in a line feed. The first button should have the caption or the calendar. Oh, I see, okay. The second button should have existing caption employee calendar without the underscore. Well, I think the underscore, is it possible? I think the underscore probably comes because you've got an ampersand in there. So it might be the ampersand on the space, and it's basically doing what it thinks is trying to display a shortcut. I don't know, but I would have thought that. But I can see here you've got this, looks like order, and there is another, we can see the edge of a calendar, an icon there. Let's just open up command bar example. Let's take a look. Oh, Stephen just going to cut the mic because I've got, yeah, he's just no example there, so that's no problem. We'll just get that compiling. Now, from looking at this, yep, we can see what you've got. It just looks like it's too small. A couple of options you've got to manipulate that is to change the actual properties of your button. So instead of letting CodeJock come up with the default size, if you will, and so on, you can override it. Oh, I've got that command bar. What's that wanting? What version? 18.5. Okay, we can see we've got a group. Let's show yours compared to it, so we can see definitely you've not got as much height. Okay, now the CodeJock controls will take on their own size by default, so we can see a split button pop up. We could, if we wanted, and edit control for that matter, we could make this wider, so we can say, okay, we want this to be a minimum of and a particular size. And that's what we'll do. We'll do it with these two buttons to make sure that they can put all their wording on one line. Because I think that was your particular question there, was it not? It was yeah, it should not result in a line feed. So now that's because we're leaving it completely to code job there. So let's just take a quick look. We'll go to our buttons on the ribbon bar. I think it was those we said there, the button pop-up. Oh, that's just pop-up, that's quite poor. Which button? Couldn't actually see which one I was going to do then. Button, pop-up, split button, and edit control. Oh, sorry, that's not. Okay, that's an automatically shrunk group. That's not actually a button. That's to do with a strategy. So if I was to make this window bigger, that edit group is actually on that tab itself. But we've got a setting to say if you've not got enough room to display so we can see the group is only so big, if I bring that smaller, the whole thing shrinks down to an automatic button. Okay, now we look at that setting, and in our tabs, and it's on buttons and edits. We've got our groups, and one of them was edit, which we saw, and allow group to reduce to a pop-up, and that's just what it's done. If I turn that off and recompile, making that too small will basically stop that from occurring. So we digress a little, but I'm just telling you what the options you've got available to you. Let's run that same again, and you can see here now that it hasn't gone to a pop-up. So we would have to scroll that bar. So if I was to make it even smaller, we scroll it like so. Okay, but if we allow that group to go to a pop-up, then it would make it all a pop-up and display accordingly. Anyway, so we come to this button. So split button pop-up, and we want all that wording to go on one. So we're going to have to make the minimum size of that button wider. I'm not quite sure how wide we need it to be, but let's just take a look. Go to our control. There's that. I hate it when Clarion does that. There's our split button pop-up. We said what type it is, yep, so on and so forth. We've got the image and the image size that we're going to. Now we've got our icon, and you've got it to icon, caption, and below. And I'm going to give it a minimum width. I think I'm going to need to give it a minimum height as well, actually. But let's just try minimum width, and I'll try 120 for the width. Sounds quite large, actually, but let's just look at the ramifications of that. Okay, yeah, probably still not wide enough to get that wording on there, but now you can see it's taken on that shape. So let's make it even bigger. Did think 120 sounded quite large then, actually, but let's try 200. Why we're getting word wrap on there, because I wouldn't really have expected that, to be honest. There's more than enough room to get split button pop-up all on one line. Let's go to our code jock and let's have a look at what properties we can manipulate. Let's go into their help. So we will want a split background. No. No. Command bar control. That's quite a generic term, the control, but it's a starting point. So what I'm looking for is anything we can do to manipulate how that's being painted. It should have a paint manager. Default description text. Sorry about this. I just seeing if we can see anything to manipulate. So basically, we'll try to get this, if I'm right, to just go on one line. Come under the caption, but as you can see, we're getting very limited properties to manipulate. See, the one thing which is kind of outside of our control is if we're using one of these themes, the predefined themes, then they're going to want to control stuff. So you can see what theme is that using? Let's just choose Office 2013. Actually, I think we can change these at runtime. Outlook. The thing I was thinking there is they can, let's just try the 2010, change the look and feel of some of these. Now it's still not giving us any option, so it's definitely not, it's not from the theme, which is good. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll have a look if there's a paint manager for the command bars. Auto icon, auto arrange, clear type, text quality, flat toolbar. Wow, I have to admit that's quite poor. I've seen a lot stronger paint managers. Sorry, so on that first question there, Heinz, you'll be able to control the height, so at least you'll be able to see that wording. I can help you on that. As for why that's going underneath, I don't know, because as we can see here, we've given it more than enough room. Yeah, I don't know. So let's take a quick look, at least if we can control the minimum height. I would go back to the same place we did. Oh, not that one, sorry. Go back to the same place where we just manipulated that particular option's width. 200 was quite large. I put it to 180, but we'll give it a minimum width of, and I'm going to give this something like 100. Oh, no, I don't like that. Okay, I've evidently put some kind of maximum on there. Quite convinced that's had quite the effect I wanted, to be honest, the truth. Oh, it has, yeah. It has grown. It's the top part which is growing, but the overall height has grown. So now, of course, this is on a window. You're using it on the application frame, but it will take that setting into account when it goes to calculate its size. So you could use that setting to at least, just grab your email, to at least help you out there. I have seen this before, by the way. It's weird because it should calculate you enough room, which is it should calculate enough room. But basically, yes, I would try changing that height setting. You can quickly try it now if you like, and see if that helps out. So that was one of the emails. I'm just going to see. There was a. Let me have a look. Okay. Solving a problem. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Please answer these questions. Okay. Yeah, have a look at the picture. We can see. Okay. Put that on there. The list is a standard Clarion list. A list. Data come from a queue. In the shortcut bar, I use an existing control. In the list, the horizontal and vertical scrolls are activated. The vertical works if there are more entries. The horizontal does not. What can I? Okay. Okay, so if I've got this right, when you say standard Clarion control, I presume you're referring to this. Okay, so that's a standard Clarion standard Clarion list. Data comes from a queue, that's fine. In the shortcut bar, I can use an existing control, which you can, yep. In the list, the horizontal and verticals are activated. Vertical works in the more entry, the horizontal doesn't. Okay, let's take a quick look. So let's see if we can replicate your question. We're going to need shortcut bar. (16.3.1). Wow, crack, that's old. Right. We're not chose a theme, sorry about that. get it to choose Office 2010, as good as any. Okay, so you want to use the controls. Is it under here? Hide show, no. Examples. User controls. You've got a list in there. Where's the list? Oh, that is the list. Sorry, right. Okay, so we've got the list. Horizontal and vertical on. Let's make sure we've got enough data in that list. Yeah, okay. There you go. Basic entries, but more data. Okay, so we've got that. And as you say, that will work. That's good. And you're saying the horizontal. Horizontal does not. What could be wrong? Okay. Might be worth us taking a quick look at the immediate. Let's turn the immediate on that list. Anything to do with the list box format? Just going to manipulate that queue. Won't be a second. You get the idea. Just going to give it something so we should have extra things in there. Personally, I'm not even sure I would use. I think you get better results from a report control personally. But let's just take a look. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got them. No, I do see what you mean. What options do we have? We turn the immediate on anyway, so that's fine. They won't have any effect. Wow. Silly thing. I'm just going to change this. Add another list. Right. I'm going to get that one to go. I'm going to leave that actually on the window and just check our left and right does actually work. Make sure it's not the what? Oh. What's going on? Nothing on what I did there. Okay. Evidently I've missed something. What have I missed out? Init prepare. Oh, right. Clarion's just okie dokie. Clarion itself got it screwed up. Right, let me just restore the other one. It's lost its link to the template. Oh, no, it said 2 out of 10. Not that it really matters. Okie dokie. Just like we did before, get some data in there. Heinz is saying that the import are long entries. Not quite sure I follow, but let's put something in here. Something like that. We'll crease that accordingly, of course. Right, let's just take a look at what we're up to. Nothing on here, is there? Okay, so it's that we're just not getting to see, which is quite annoying. Okay, what I'm going to do, I don't want to lose and Clarion to screw itself up. So I'm going to go to our shortcut bar. I'm going to delete that bar, which means that it won't be taken charge of by the shortcut bar. And I just want to see it on the window. It's in a hidden group. That'll do. So it's definitely this, taking charge of it and not passing. Oh, chances are not passing those scrolls across. Just change one of these. Oh, actually, well, I'll just not be honest with you. But oh, now is that because it was part of the hidden group? I'm going to put that back in the hidden group. And not working. I'll leave it where it is. I'll just, via the tab order, take it out of the group. Okay. Now, the command bar, not the command bar, the shortcut bar grabbing its handle will hide it. Not hide it. That's wrong. But it will change its parentage, so you won't see it anyway. So that's the answer to that one. Don't have it as part of a hidden group, and just have it as part of the your window. Make it as small or as big as you want, because it's going to take on the dimensions of the shortcut bar's client area. Can I try though? Great. I think that I should find. Sorry, I can't see the message. Sorry about that. That's good. But you did just ask. Can you try inserting a long entry into the list? Oh yes, I presume he means that. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So that's that. That's one down. Next. Horizontal. Yeah, we've got that. So is it possible to fill the space below the entry with white colour? On which level? I know what you mean. Let's get rid of some of those other entries now. We'll just take it back to the like the default, if you will. But apart from anything, you can see it here, and the answer is no. You can see that there. I don't know from the webinar you can see this, but you're getting a grey area rather than the nice white. And again there. And yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't think you can. I mean, well, let's have a quick look if we can play about, but I don't think you can. Where's our entry? Where's our list? We'll move it to the end so at least I can see it from a design point of view. Okay. What I was thinking is, what about, I don't know if this will make it any better, but what about if we say the actual thing is transparent? Yeah, now you only get grey. Terrible colour selection, so ignore that. But it's not the best, I'll be honest with you. But that's all you can do. Basically, the Clarion list is only painting itself to where it's got data, but the handle of that is being taken via the command shortcut bar and used in its client area. So yeah, so basically it's the Clarion one not painting all of it, even though it's been resized. Bit of a shame. We're seeing the exact same effect here. So now, what you could do, we digress a little, but let's try. Let's go on here. Let's do a report control. 18.6, Office 2010, like we had a minute ago. Blue, yep, whatever. Okay. Go into our controls and let's add a report control to the screen. Okay, whoa. Little large, to be fair. It doesn't matter because it's going to be used as a piece of content. So let's have that. We're going to go to the data source. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I've chosen the wrong one. No, sorry, I take that back. Let's take that off. Yep. So ignore that. We go on to here, go into our extensions, and we want our report control list enhancer. So you've got a Clarion list on there. Let's add that. The list is our local list, which we had a second ago. That's it. Let's just do that. Now here's the thing. I always make it awkward for myself, don't I? Right. Okay. Go to our shortcut bar. There's our list. Okay. OCX. It wants the handle. It's not that. That's not going to help us. Is there another? Oh, this is annoying because the report controls and so on, they have a different way of doing it. Okay, let's not. It doesn't run. Because now you've got a report control with your data in there. It's not been resized, of course, so on and so forth. But there's your report control with your local list. No problem. Let me just think aloud a second. List. No ID2. Oh, it's on that. Sorry. So you could, if that helps, you could enhance the list. You would have to just put that line of code in. Where have you gone from your? Where's the chat gone? There you go. It's different, granted, but you could have a report control in there. The report control is dynamically loaded from your Clarion list, so you're not really changing any of your code. The only thing you would have to do is, and it's because the shortcut bar template doesn't allow me to select something that's been generated at runtime. So let me just quickly show you what we've got, what we've just done. Nav ID 2. Okay. So we've got this add bar, so on and so forth. We're setting the bar content for that bar. We're saying we're going to use a code jot control. We're going to use, and this has just been, we have our local list, and the OCX for that is actually created at runtime. So it's the FEQ of that. That contains the FEQ of the created report control. We need the prop handle of that, and then it wants the actual FEQ itself anyway. So on. So you could, I don't know if that helps. I'll take a quick screenshot of that. But you could change the content of that one particular bar and use a report control instead. That you wouldn't get the white, and you would actually get some nicer, more control over the report control as well. Because the Clarion list is, well, it's not the best. You've got a much better tool set. That. Can I send you the example? Of course, no problem. So I'll zip this up and send it to you. So Heinz has just asked if I could send this example to him, and of course, yes, no problem. And then last but not least, was the docked window is resizable. Is it in some way possible to increase the width of the window, and with it, the width of the shortcut bar during runtime? Oh, right. Oh, okay. No, I think I know what you mean. Just run this. So, going on to your example here, we're talking about this here, docked window. So, Heinz, that docked window, is that on your application frame? So let's just go back to your email here. So, I'm presuming this is your app frame. It looks like it is, with the icon at the top and so on and so forth. You've got the command bar and you've got your shortcut bar. So is the shortcut bar on the app frame? So yes, right, okay. You probably have to rework quite a lot of your program. So I'm not saying to do this now. Yes, if you're using docking panes to host those particular pieces of content, then yes, it would be perfect, because the docking panes, you just move them left and right, and they would work accordingly, and you can save and restore and so on and so forth. And the shortcut bar can actually be used in that. For example, let's see if I've got one of the examples here. Won't be a second. We covered this. Apps training, UK event. Where are we? Yeah, here's a. So it just got a vast playing up, if you will. So it won't be a second. There you go. All right, I should restart. So in this particular example, it's very dark, but it was chosen like this. We have got a shortcut bar on the left. The shortcut bar is actually hosting. That's actually hosting a command bar there. That one is hosting. That's a command bar. That is. I thought somewhere it was one of them was hosting a task panel. No, that's a task panel. Yep, that's hosting a task panel. So the shortcut bar can host things, we know that, but the shortcut bar itself is actually hosted in the docking panes. So you could have that folded away or brought out or resized. So that is probably the look and feel you have to go in for. But to achieve that, you do have to plan a little differently in the rest of the apps. Okay, so that ends why I was asking if it was on the app frame. So basically, yeah. So what we have here, it's actually part of the training, but I'll we can still discuss it. We have a command bar across the top. We have a window then, which is maximized, which really is nothing more than an MDI container. And on that, it has the docking panes and various panes defined, one of which is the navigation on the left, which is the shortcut bar. The shortcut bar in turn hosts its content, be it command bars or task panels or whatever. On the right, we have various different panes which take their turn in coming into focus. So, for example, that would bring another Clarion browse procedure into focus there, or we could go back to the dashboard. That brings our dashboard into focus. Interesting, the dashboard itself. Okay, the scroll bar itself. No, sorry, that's that. The dashboard itself actually has its whole own docking pane manager. So it's got a report control here. It's got I think it's a HTML content here, and it's got a chart. Not very good data, granted. But all of these things can be moved around and saved accordingly. In fact, these can actually be switched. So I think we added it so we can see detail or summary. Switch that. But my point being is you would have to rework a lot of rework some of your application to, okay, I want what you would consider to be your normal browsers and your MDI content to go into these dock panes. Perfectly doable, so it's perfectly doable. I have my applications working this way all the time, literally all the time. But there's just more changes involved in doing that. So to go back to your question, the docked on the app frame, it's going to be difficult. You're going to need to, crikey. Yeah, you need to have some kind of visual indicator to let them know that they can grab the side of it, or maybe I'm not even sure how you do it. Yeah, you need some kind of visual indicator to let them know that something can be resized, and then you'd have to basically change the width of that window. For example, not too easy to be fair, but for example, no, I was right. Got it to the left. I'm going to very, very crudely on our examples. Going to put no, not that one. Just going to try it here. Okay, navigation. Going to be its own bar. Increase. And decrease. So what we're going to do, if that's the case, we will have execute Clarion command, and it could be maybe something like prop width plus equals 10. Oh, can't do that, sorry. Yeah, bit silly there. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's width equals itself plus 10. Okie dokie. Let's try that. Onto our test. Okay, so that's increasing our size. Not of our command bar though. Just going to look at where that code is. Won't be 1 second. Plus 10. Just in there. Going to do the same again. And if it was, it would be self.calc sync OCX width. Oh. I'll do. So, So I just try something. If I open yeah, the window's definitely there. Sorry about this, everybody. Won't be a sec. I'm just trying, checking we've got something else at our disposal, so to speak. NYS common. So we've got our class here, common class. I want to have a look at that OCX window. I'm going to post an event to our OCX thread. Telling it to try and detect a screen size. Not sure this is actually quite what you're after, I'll be honest, but Okay. But it's not the nicest. It's definitely not visual or grab. It's not like you would expect along the lines of that, which is kind of probably what you're after. So it's not going to that. I think your docking pane, if you was to be able to resize, convert, would be a better option, but there is more work involved. So maybe a couple of buttons somewhere, to increase this, and I can send you, like I say, you're going to send you this across. Okay. Was that off this or was that off the other? Yeah, I don't think it's this. So that could well have been the other application. Okay. Docked in some way. So could it be change the width at runtime? The answer is yes. How you visually get them to do that could be a little more difficult, but the answer is yes, you could do it. Okay, so I think that was it for your questions on the email. I'll quickly check again, but I think that was it. Oh, it's asking, can you see the source code again? And yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem. I'll probably tidy it up. Actually, I'm not quite sure. You probably don't need those two. So the embed point you're after would be under the bar, shortcut bar, under the virtual methods, new selection, and under the code of the new selection, it gets a parameter of bar ID. So we're just doing basically at 8,800. So quite late on, I would put it, something like maybe, something like 9999. Quite late on. We don't need that, and all we're really doing, actually, that's not quite true. You did have that code as well, where I was executing some Clarion code. So you would want to increase your width. So the 0, your window, prop width equals itself plus 10 or minus 10. And then I needed to also tell it to change the width of the control. So you're changing the width for the window and the control itself. Okie dokie. So yeah, that's the kind of code you're after. Okay, so that's that. Just catching up on these. So question Steve, Heinz, yeah, we're covered. Bijan, you still there, Bijan? Regarding how we're doing for time. Oh, crikey, we are pushing time, but let's get Bijan open. Hi, Bijan, are you there?
Yes, hi. Sorry for the late question. Well, it's just like mostly it's actually a comment. I was working with a customer on a production server, and I was experimenting with the QuickBooks Online, and I noticed that I don't really need to put any specific API key for the customer. It seems like once you publish your app and you have your app's API key, you can just use the same key and then just have the customer log in with their credentials. Is that correct? Is that the way that you've been working with the production version?
So say that again. So you've got your production, yep.
Yeah. So basically, I was watching some of your webinars and all that, and I noticed that you mentioned that when you go to production with the QuickBooks Online, you need to you need to copy and paste the API key that the customer has on their QuickBooks. But I noticed that I don't need to do that. I noticed that if once I publish my app, in the QuickBooks Online, and I use that app's API key, then all you need to do is just have the customer log in with their QuickBooks credentials, and they can then read and write, and it works fine. Is that correct, or?
I don't know. I'd have to try. I'd have to try, but it's. I'm just trying to think how I could test that. What's my easiest way of testing that?
Yes, I mean that's what I found out. Just trying, because I have a QuickBooks account now, and I have a customer. So we both were able to log in, and we're using the same published application key, and he was able to work with his, and I was working with mine with no problem. So I just want to clarify that that application key is all you need. So you don't have to actually have the customer do anything. They just log in.
Okay, that is very interesting. I'll have to check. I was under the impression that the production key was tied to the account, and more specifically tied to the data of the company. So basically,
No,
I mean, obviously, I don't want
that's not what I found out when I was testing on the production. I mean, that's what I at first I thought the same thing, that I need to go and get their API. But once I published the app, and the app generated the key, I was just using the same key, and then of course when I was using that key, it would create a new token, and for each session it's creating a new token. And
yes, of course, yeah.
And then the token was able to connect to that customer's data. So I just want to, maybe you could test it, and I just want to be clear about this.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I can. I'm trying to think how I could test it, but I'll find a way. I'd need somebody else's production.
You have a production account of your own.
I do, but it's linked to. I have two companies, and they both use QuickBooks Online. So my production key can get me to either of those companies. Okay, so my login with that production key can get me to either of those companies. So that's fine. What I wouldn't expect is that production key, which is tied to them two companies, to work with your login and a different thing. I wouldn't expect that. If we're saying it is, then that really could make things are so much easier. It'd be untrue. So it's something I'll have to look into. I just need to get another set of production keys, really.
Yes, I mean, because when he logged in, the first time, and he was given, he was asked if he wants to authorize this app, Driveware, to connect to his account, and he said yes. Once he accomplished that, then he was able to use the same
production key.
So it makes, like I said, that's what I was hoping for, because then you don't have to deal with customers trying to get their API key.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So let's definitely try that. Maybe you can let me know next time, or send us
maybe we could do a joint test together, where I don't, obviously, you should never divulge any production keys. I wouldn't divulge mine because it's linked to company data, and likewise for yours. But maybe we could. I could set up a little test app where you can't see my production keys, but you could attempt to log in using your credentials and see if you're looking at your data, that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that, and I'm at the early stages with this, so I mean I can always regenerate my production key even if we ended up using mine. So it doesn't matter. I mean, we could test it. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's brilliant. If that is the case, that makes so much easier. So yeah, no, that'd be very good. Yeah, leave it with us. Oh, actually, no, I've got a person who I do a lot of work for who does have a production key for theirs. So, well, no, actually, I'll still come back to yourself. You're the one who brought it up. I'll come back to yourself, and we'll pencil in a test. Want to get the report control
Sure.
update out first, but yeah, that'd be brilliant news. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the way it was with the when we were using QuickBooks Desktop. Once we used the QuickBooks Connect, and we had the QuickBooks Connect authorize the QuickBooks authorize our app to use and to talk to their data, then you were all set. You didn't need to do anything else. And I think this is the way it's working also. Once they authorize the app to be able to read and write, then they just need to log in. It just seems like it's that simple.
Yeah, which obviously would be brilliant news for everybody. So yeah, no, that's great.
So let's try that. Like I said, I was trying it and I ran into this, and I noticed that I didn't have to get his API key. He was fine. I was reading his customers. I was reading his invoices.
Of course, that was one of the questions. You sure you were reading his data and not yours? But yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely make sure of that. It was correct. Yeah, we were reading their data and everything was there. And then I logged out and I logged back in with my credentials, and it was reading fine. So yeah.
Excellent.
So let's test it.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. It will be Wednesday. Realistically, it's probably going to be more Thursday. I'll try for Wednesday afternoon, but realistically, it's going to be more Thursday.
Just let me know, and it shouldn't take that long.
No, it'd be quite simple. We could test it just via a quick connected up session. 20 minutes, half hour, we'll know.
Sounds great. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so we are over time. I'm sure I saw a message from Alejandro, though. Virtual methods and report control. Alejandro, got one quick question on virtual methods.
Hello, Andy. How are you?
Yes, not bad. You, I'm not sure. Did you see earlier about the report control and the new data loading?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Yep.
But did you see my question about the virtual method?
The question? No, I saw you have a question on. Where is it? Question: virtual methods on report control. Is that the question?
Yes, virtual method. Exactly.
And what is the question?
So if you have something developed about that, because the only that I saw was the data binding, but using the OCX, the MS. Let me see. Sorry. Let's see. Data binding. Using the NSADODC OCX, but I want to use another thing.
Oh, okay. What is it?
But I want to use the virtual method. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can always look at if we can see. If you tell me what the other thing is and let me have a look at its interface, then we could always put options into the template to say, what ADO engine are you using?
Sorry.
At the moment, for the
Yes.
for the data bind, it does use the MS OD, whatever it's called. Yeah. You want to use something different. If you let me know what it is that you want to use, then I could look at putting some options onto the data binding tab to say what ADO engine are you using, and then you'll be able to switch between the two.
Yes, you say the driver, which driver I want to use. Can you turn on the mic to Roberto, please? To Robert Rent?
Yeah. Roberto here?
Yes.
Where's Roberto? Oh yeah. Hi Roberto.
Actually, I want to.
Hello. I think what Alejandro's talking about is using the virtual method list that Kodiak report control uses, which is not the data binding. I thought it was the same thing. I thought
No,
it
no.
uses data binding and uses the virtual list, but they're two different things.
It's rubbish. I wouldn't. It's not. I did some tests early on, and it's not worth the effort. It genuinely isn't. Because the idea is that you have a rough estimate that you're going to load a lot of data. So currently, the report control will initialize with no data, and then you load the data. And if it's a large data set, million records, it will take a little bit of time. Now the virtual
going through the class,
Now the virtual list, you can tell it to initialize itself, but with space for a million rows, and it will do it so much faster. But the trouble is, it's not really. It's giving you a million rows, but it's giving you a million empty rows. And then the idea is, as you're moving around, you're supposed to paint at runtime the data over the top of these empty rows. So you're going to have a lot of work to try and keep involved with that. The last time I looked into it, because I thought it would be a brilliant engine for the file loaded, but it's not. It's not all it's cracked up to be, or at least it wasn't when I investigated it. It was a while ago, to be fair, because I just didn't like how it worked.
Right. Did you find anything different, Alejandro? Did the demo attract you, or what?
No, I saw the documentation. Can you open the type library, please? I want to show you something. And look for data manager in report control.
The just data manager? Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes,
the data object?
No. Data manager. Data manager.
Yeah, it's up there. The report control data manager then.
We have there the data binding. But we have
report control data manager.
Two way to use the data binding. One using the object and the other using the add record, exactly, the add record, update field, update record, etc. So I need to use the add record function or method, okay? So I don't know if you did something or if you tested, because you can indicate between, or maybe you have to indicate before to use it, okay? How many rows do you want to add? Like did you say, okay? But in this method, I can indicate which column I want to use, okay?
Which column?
Yes, which column, if I need to change the data, anything. If you see, where is?
You're passing it a record.
Yes.
But I'm not seeing anything about column. The record is the whole structure of columns. Well, cells.
Look at it with the type library. Maybe it shows it different.
If you
not really.
It might not be in the documentation. Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it with that.
Sorry, Andy. If you look for set virtual method in the help.
Set virtual.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the set virtual mode.
Exactly. There you have a step to do.
Yep, so you can say the row count.
Exactly. So if you see in the number 1, in the point number 1, okay, create your own array. Okay, after that, you have to call the set virtual mode. Okay, and after that, you have to set custom draw. And there you have to specify the before draw row.
Yeah, okay. So you're drawing the data at runtime.
Exactly. So, and that's that I need. ¿Se entiende, Roberto?
I did some tests on that, and I didn't get very favourable results. The runtime painting wasn't that good. And you're also going to need to keep track of what it is you are actually painting.
¿Qué dijo? Sorry, Andy.
Que él ya hizo pruebas de eso y que los resultados no eran muy buenos. Que el redespliegue era muy malo. Y aparte que tienes que tener control sobre qué es lo que realmente tienes ahí pintado.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
you did a test and it's not the.
No,
best
I hoped it was, I hoped it was better for loading big record sets. We can take another look, maybe in next week's webinar. But the original tests I did, it wasn't very good. You could add blank rows very quickly, but to then paint the data at runtime and know which data was to be painted at runtime, that is basically where the slowdown comes. Because you do, as you say there, you can turn it on. You do add, you initialize it with an array. So you get all the data, you get the empty rows, but you do get the rows. But then you have to turn on, where is it, the custom draw, and then you start listening for that event.
Okay.
And then you start painting before the you on that event before data row. We can do some tests together. We'll do it next week, no problem, gladly. But I don't think you'll get the results you like.
Yes, it could be great for me. Yes, I want to do that.
Okay.
If you can, the next week I will be there to do this.
That's fine. We can take a look. We'll do that as one of the first questions. We can play about in a little test app. We can put all of these.
You can play with the merged rows. I mean, merged cells also. I played with that quite a bit, and I didn't get anywhere with that. Just had so many bugs.
I'll tell you one thing we do need to do. I don't know if anyone uses is the group totaling facility. That has got so much power to it. It's unbelievable. My users use it for. They used to put various data out to reports. I can't, unfortunately. The particular example, it's protected their data. I can't possibly show it publicly, but I could put an example together. Imagine you've got, because a scenario I can talk about, you've got a list of transactions, could be financial transactions usually and things like that. Then they was having to run one report and another report and export to Excel and have to do all this data. And I've created basically a smart reporting system. We load the data into the report control. We allow them to put their grouping on and their turn the columns and switch the columns around and so on. But all of the actual finance ones have been set to do totaling on grouping. So they could group via whatever mechanism they want and subgroup under that. And their particular products have 7 parts to their product code. So they naturally do have 7 groups or 6 subgroups, if you will. And they could group by all this information, and they would instantly get totals. So I don't have to do any work for it. It's all totaling automatically in the report control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So we do need to expose the grouping. In fact, I don't even know if it's
sounds like stuff you can do with the StimulSoft reporter, because once you have it over there, you can do all kinds of groupings also.
Yeah, that should be one of the things what goes into the next. To be fair, it will be in there by the DevCon, because I want the report control to be like they all singing, all dancing, browse replacement really.
Cool.
So, but yeah, the totaling, the group totals has bailed me out quite a lot, and the users love it because they never do anything to Excel now. They get all the facts and figures that they want on the screen, and then you just got the print, and they just hit the print, and they've got everything they want. And they even have it where on the child, if they wanted to on this particular transaction, look at who it was for, and look at any additional information, then I trap the double click. They can click on that particular record, and then I add extra children to it to give them related information. So
Is there any way to select several rows and cells and just copy paste them into Excel?
not that I've seen. No, not I've seen. I mean,
that would be really cool. You know, I want this section here. Copy it over and paste it into Excel.
well, you could highlight, but you can multi-select and highlight. It's the
Right.
I don't
but
think
you need to copy that.
yeah, it's copying it into the clipboard, or I know we support send to, so you could technically highlight some records and send to them to Excel.
From the report control.
Yeah.
You're but highlighted, it'll send whatever's on screen. I don't think it'll send what's highlighted.
Oh. Well, maybe we could highlight. We could expand that. Yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to expand that. That'd be very simple. We've got it in the example app here, haven't we?
Sorry, I'm just giving you more ideas, but
yeah, but we have got a send to. Now, this example app doesn't have send to. Yeah, but all send to does is really work off a Clarion list and what's in that list. So if I was to do a dummy send to, what this does is take the data out of the report control and build that.
But is this using the report control, or is this using the?
Oh yeah, well no, that's the report control here. And then to try and explain what's going on, because normally you would have your send to list hidden, you wouldn't see it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Send to works on a Clarion list. So
right.
What this is, it takes the data out of the report control and creates
puts it into a list. Okay, into a queue. Okay.
So back into that. If I was to say, okay, my subject is there and my size is there, and it does it, just as you see it on screen. So for me to say, oh, I only want that, and that.
Yeah, but I only want from size to received, that block.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Highlight a column.
No, I'm saying like highlight record 67. Yeah, like just 3 or 4 fields from several records.
Mm.
You want to select cell.
Yeah, drag. Like you do with Excel, you drag and select like a several.
You have to enable the select row cell.
Right. But that'd be cool, because that way it'd be real easy to copy stuff instead of having to print or having to export the whole thing.
Just putting the cell selection on.
And that would give you something that nothing else gives you.
The grouping, I really can't rave enough about that. But let's just have a quick look at the, not under here, cell selection. I always forget where they are now.
There, now column cell selection.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No,
it's been in it, yeah. Ali's been tweaking all of that.
So we said you wanted that. That is. Hang on, I put the cell selection on.
But you did. You put it on the other one, didn't you? On the.
Oh, if I put it on send to.
Yeah.
Standard send to.
Okay.
Thought I did. Oh, that is highlighting individual.
That is, yeah.
Just hard to. Let me turn off the green bar.
Because then you can just draw a square around what you want and just copy or send to or whatever. You can always, it's just a lot easier than having to hide the column and, things like that.
No, the multi-select is at row level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, it's at row level, the multi-select.
Yeah.
That's a shame. But
I
still,
don't know.
we could have it so if only certain rows are selected, then the send to only gets those rows.
Right.
Of course, you could.
Yeah, you can hide the
You can
columns.
hide and then
Yeah.
send just that.
Yeah, that's just a lot more work
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
for the user. I'm just.
I did something, sorry, no, I did something similar, but when you select multiple rows, if you right click on the column, on the position of this column, you know which column, in which column you are. So you can make a right click and send to only this column, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. It would one column at a time, granted, but yes, that would do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it seem more like Navicat. Navicat's one of my favorite programs. You can do all kinds of stuff with it, and select rows and select cells and select. It's a wonderful app. I mean, incredible what these Chinese guys are doing. I mean,
Like so.
yeah, you can select several, like that. Yeah, copy. You can paste it into Excel or paste it into another table, whatever. It's really, really powerful stuff, what they've been able to do with it. Yeah. So that's something like, that'd be cool to do with the report control if that's possible. Anyway.
It comes down to the selection. But we are just
Yep.
broke the 2-hour mark, so we better call it for now. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Did you look at David's thing?
David.
His message popped up on your window, on your screen. So.
Oh, Dave. Sorry, yeah. Crazy, isn't it? So Dave said, I was calling Dave,
You're
not
always
David.
ignoring Dave, see?
Dave says about the virtual, yeah. We tried.
About the scroll bars.
Yeah, so I was talking to him the other day, actually. Trying to think. Oh, it was a theme. The skin framework was throwing his scroll bars, causing him issues.
Yeah.
So no, I not had a chance to look at that yet. So don't really use the
I know
skin
Ale
too much.
has problems with the skin framework when he does pop-ups from the report control.
Right.
Right, Ale?
Yes.
It kind of shrinks so it doesn't open up like it should. It shrinks the pop-up, the right-click pop-up. It makes it really thin. On some of the themes,
The
I don't
themes.
know. Some of them work, some don't.
I suppose it really depends on which one you're using, and then having to ensure that it does support all the different
I think the
options.
Apple one doesn't work. Yeah, then that's the one he likes.
It's not strictly a code jot one, Matt. It's a visual style file, if I remember rightly. So, okay, well, we shall call it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Because I do.
Thank you.
No problem. Don't forget, next week then we shall take a look at the drawing,
Excellent.
the virtual. Yeah, but there will be a new report control before then, so you'll have a new report control in the next couple of days.
Perfect. Did you solve the filter with the check? Did you remember?
The report control.
Yes, if you have a check on report control and you want to filter.
Oh,
by
right.
check it.
No.
Did you
Crikey.
remember we saw this the last week?
That's right, I do remember. That was on the laptop, right. Oh, hang on a minute, where's my pencil gone? Just 1 second. RC, checkbox. Filter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, no, well remembered. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, right, we're going to wrap it up. Until next week. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.